Hello.
Hi, hello. Am I audible?
Fine. You?
Yeah. Um, Third person hasn't joined in yet, right? I will also take join. Family. Okay. He'll join midway around 8:30. Should we start?
I don't know. I mean, we're supposed to do it in a group of five. So I don't know.
Yes. I
Mm,
also don't know how to record this meeting. Okay.
maybe we could wait like 2, 3 minutes.
Yeah. Mm.
Maybe we can move on and start.
Sure. Let me just wait. So I'll be starting the discussion with the reading 20 reasons why business model innovation is important. Okay. Yeah. Wait a minute. So I'm sorry. It's 20 challenges related to environmental and economic sustainability. So I can't cover the whole 20 topics in this discussion, but I found four of them very interesting, and we can also look at current examples surrounding them. Am I audible to you? Hello?
Yeah. We are
Can
really
you
on the
can you see the option to record this meeting?
option of the core. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Because we are supposed to do assessment one.
Come again?
We are supposed to do assignment one, group and instruction. We are
Yes, group discussion, right?
yes.
Yeah.
We need to read articles, and we need to answer questions.
Answer
Did you got them?
questions. Wait a minute. The mail which I read was that it listed 8 articles, and we need to read all of them and then have a discussion about them on the call, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And so we are supposed to read articles. We are supposed to do a group meeting. I mean, we are two, but
Yes.
still on it.
Yeah.
Audio. Oh, we are supposed to put video. Okay.
Yeah.
And we need after the meeting to answer the 4 questions on the
Yeah.
yeah,
These are the questions that how the discussion went, right? Who all were active and kind of stuff. 4 questions regarding the meeting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you want to proceed on this?
Uh, we can start the discussion. Any one of us can start the discussion. But the main concern is that neither am I nor you are getting the option to record this. So how will
Uh,
we submit the recording?
I think the it's already recording, but I don't know how to have it at the end of the meeting. But
Yes. The video has been recorded, guys. You can
Okay.
start the session. Maybe someone needs to patch in Thomas, right? He's not able to join via Microsoft Teams. I'm not really sure how to connect him. I'm currently out right now. I'll be back at 8:30, but I'm still keeping my Teams meeting on right now so that others can discuss.
Thomas is um,
hello.
Thomas is one of our teammates.
E-
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Thomas is one of our teammates on the group.
Yeah. Uh, Lanthanian. I cannot use Teams anymore. Okay. So should we wait for him to join in, or should we go ahead with the discussion?
Maybe see if there's a way to patch him in. I don't know. I'm currently out, so I can't.
Yeah. Okay. Lanthni, would you like to start, or should I go ahead?
Yeah, I can start if you want.
Yeah. Sure.
So I read the article, the fourth and the fifth one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there were no the 5 and 6 one. Sorry, I'm taking my notes. The Ackerman and Eden and the Freeman ones, Freeman Phillips, because they both talk about the tension of the stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to take both, to read two articles
Mm-hmm.
for this meeting, and to
Mm-hmm.
choose those one because they were sharing the same subject.
Yeah.
And they basically showing that and underlying the fact that we can see repetition in each case with the shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're sharing the tension. So
Mm-hmm.
you have tension between the stakeholders and the shareholders,
Mm-hmm.
the stakeholders between them, and the stakeholders between them. And they really underline the fact that they not have the same goals, and there is a difference between the tension between them and how it affects the company and the CSR in the company. Um,
Okay.
they're also showing and the discuss about uh, how can framework the management of the stakeholders and how we can create um, good execution in our CSR proposal and actions with the stakeholders. And I note four steps: the stakeholder identification, the stakeholder power interest analysis, the stakeholders management planning, and the stakeholders management strategy implementation. So through the two articles, I thought that the stakeholders are really uh, uh, a main part in the application of CSR of the company and how they interact between them. This is like a summary of what I could read. So I don't know if you want to discuss about it or if you want to present what you read.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and present what I read. Wait. So I read the sixth reading, I think, which highlighted 20 reasons, 20 challenges related to the environmental and economic sustainability. So there were a lot of good points, but I found most of them were related to the biodiversity, natural capital, and resources of one nation, and how companies can pitch in to foster the future, which is going to be a environmental friendly future. And the four points that were highlighted for me was deep decarbonization and climate neutrality. So the challenge in this is that there is an urgent need to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions, but understanding the decarbonization path is challenging. So, for example, the current transition to EVs seems like a good shift, but it is basically dependent upon the fact that the extraction of resources, which is lithium, should be done in an environmental friendly way, and also on the recycling rate of the batteries to make it a viable solution for the future. This was one of the key points that was highlighted. But still, the idea of EVs, shifting to EVs, does not give deep decarbonization effects, because it is somehow still leading to it is still somehow harming the environment in a way, right? The second point that highlighted for me was the land use and soil degradation. So for the last many years, many farmers or people have to maximize their yield through per land area, per square foot or per square meter area. For the yield maximization, they have been using high amount of fertilizers over a very long period of time, and it has resulted in the degradation of soil, which leads to more water usage for the same amount of yield and also harms the underground water. This soil will take more than a century to repair itself, and all the efforts that must be taken should be taken immediately to return this to normalcy, right? Now, and the third one is very relevant to the current scenario, the sustainability perspective on digitalization. So AI is very good, and all the things going digital is very good initiative by all the powerful institutions in the world. But it leaves we are not thinking about the data being created. So there's a lot of useful data and there's a lot of junk which is being created. And the problem is that earlier this data was being created by humans, so it was limited. But now it is being created by a machine. So it can pose risks. It can lead to an increased energy usage. It can lead to waste of the storage, which is very limited in today's world. And the machines that produce high amount of data are not being investigated upon yet. We are just being fascinated by the advent of AI instead. And the fourth and the last point, which is very important, is the carbon exposure and the green finance. So the measures such as carbon tax implementation that are being emphasized by the United States and also the European Union seems like a good move to control carbon emissions, but it is only half-heartedly it is being implemented only half-heartedly because the implementation could be feasible only if the underdeveloped and the developing nations are provided with healthy amounts of green financing, because they are the ones who will be regulated most strictly. So if they are not being provided with healthy amount of green finance, they will take up more load due to this move and thus default on this. So the whole point would so they won't participate in this, right? So these were the 4 points that highlighted the entire reading for me. Yeah. You can add your thoughts if you have any on this, or you can go ahead with your another reading.
It was pretty clear for me.
Great,
You
great.
know, a lot of question because you did well and summarize your article. I think so. Maybe Shah, will you present what you read?
Uh, as in present, what I read as in.
I mean, if there is not a third person in the meeting.
Yeah, Dharmin Kalpesh Shah. I think he's outside and he'll be joining us around 8:30. He wrote that on one of the WhatsApp groups. I'll help a person who is asking on the group to join in. Just give me a minute, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Um, uh,
Hello. Hello. Hey, hi. So are we
Hello.
discussing or we are going ahead? Like, are we not going ahead without Thomas?
yeah, we are discussing. We had put four articles each. Now, if you are free right now, you can chip in, or you can go to your home and then start the discussion again.
No, no, I can chip in right now. Like I'm in the bus, but I can chip in.
Yeah, sure, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So I had one second. I had article 1 and 4
Mm-hmm.
as my reading list. Just a second. I think Thomas is joining. Hey Thomas, hi, can you hear us?
Hi guys, yeah, I can hear you. Thank you very
Good.
much.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, finally. How are you guys?
I'm
Yeah,
good. Yeah. How are you? Which country are you
we're
in, by
great.
the way? 10 hours ahead of
Yeah,
Paris time.
fine. So shall we start then?
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
asking which country were you in? Like that's 10 hours ahead of Paris.
Thomas, are we audible to you?
Sorry?
Are we audible to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's start then. I think I was going ahead with my paper, which was paper one and
Yeah.
four. And first
Yes.
one, first one was from the IJCSR history of CSR, Agudelo ETL 2019. And
Mm-hmm.
like so, basically, I'll just give a brief overview of what the paper wrote. So it was like written in 2019, and like it's a literature review basically that traces like evolution of the CSR, and it
Mm-hmm.
highlights like key academic contributions that's made to the concept of CSR because
Mm-hmm.
it's mostly practical application. Like CSR doesn't have much theory, right? Like you'll have to do it to understand it. So this paper has
Mm-hmm.
highlighted something opposite of that, like some academic contributions and the influential factors that are like shaped its understanding and definition. And like it discusses the changing context and challenges of CSR in 21st century. So
Okay.
basically, I'll just list down a few of the key pointers that I've noted down and I've written it down separately. So first point was that
Mm-hmm.
the CSR concept has been a long and complex history, dated back to like the earliest days of industrial capitalism. And like the definition of CSR has grown over time, with more emphasis on the responsibility of businesses to stakeholders and beyond the shareholders.
Okay.
And so it has been shaped over the years. It has been shaped by a variety of factors like social movements, technological advancement, and government regulations. While governmental regulations being the most important one, because
Yep.
because a lot of companies in India have made some laws regarding CSRs mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just a second. And the other thing is, however, there are some challenges to CSR, like measuring its impact and reconciling it with other business objectives.
Okay.
So this was basically the first paper. Overall, in this, we get a valuable overview of history and evolution, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a good paper if you want to understand like the overall importance of the concern.
Right.
Yeah. Basically, if you want to like ask me anything or if you want to share your own paper thoughts, then we can go ahead. So we can do one by one paper for each person, so that each of us is speaking for some time and then listening to others as well.
Sure, we can go ahead that way.
Has anyone of us presented the paper yet? Like apart from me right now, I joined late, so I don't know.
Yeah, I presented one of the papers and Lanthony also did.
Okay,
I
okay.
think you
So
also
like we have
presented one
completed
of the
three papers.
papers. Yeah, Thomas
All right,
can pitch
Thomas,
in maybe now.
do you want to? Yeah.
Guys, I just have
Yeah,
one
hi.
question first.
Yeah,
Are you sure we are recording right now? Right now?
Yeah, yeah, we're recording it.
yeah, we are recording.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thomas, we all have discussed one paper each, and you can pitch in now if you want, or we can go ahead and you can come back in the second round.
You discussed the first question, right?
The first question, I don't
No,
know. I
Or not
we
yet?
not really. We all read one or two articles, and so we
yeah,
just share what we read just to present and summarize our article. So we
Okay.
exactly.
will willing to listen to what you read and what you can share with the
Sure.
group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I read two articles. The first one was Tension in Stakeholder Theory, which was an article from Freeman, Phillips, and Sisodia. And the second article was an article which is named "The Way Forward in Mindfulness and Sustainability: A Critical Review and Research Agenda." This is an article from Sirman and Shiet. So basically, those two articles are quite different. The first one is more based on the relationship with stakeholders in a firm and how CSR could be implemented in order to reduce tension with stakeholders. And the second one is more about mindfulness and how mindfulness could be implemented in a firm, and especially with employees, unless it's not that much focused on all stakeholders, but more on employees in a firm. So basically, I saw that in both articles, CSR could be defined quite the same way. Like I would say, it's voluntary actions that an initiative that a business could take to operate ethically and contribute positively to society. What can I say furthermore? Also, I could say that in the second article, The Way Forward in Mindfulness and Sustainability, the article talked a little bit about sustainability issues. And we can say that sustainability issues can be understood as challenges and concern related to pro-environmental behavior and how it could impact the environment. And basically, the article suggests that measuring sustainability involves assessing behaviors with high potential environmental impacts. And it shows like three main sustainability challenges. The first one, as I said earlier, is measuring pro-environmental behavior. So the challenge of quantifying behaviors that minimize harm to environment or contribute positively. The second challenge would be identifying high impact behaviors. So basically the need to focus on behaviors with the highest potential environmental impact, such as meat consumption, transport, and housing habits, for instance. And finally, the third challenge would be environmental impact indicators. So basically the limited availability of programs like the Mindful Climate Action Program, which is designed to evaluate behavioral impact through indicators like greenhouse gas emission, transportation, and, for instance, household energy. Well, on the same issue on sustainability changes, the other article explained that there are different examples of sustainability changes. The first one would be the stakeholder engagement, like actively involving stakeholders and identifying and understanding issues relevant to them. The second one would be materially assessments, like identifying and prioritizing sustainability issues based on their impact on the business and stakeholders. The third one would be the life cycle assessments, like evaluating the environmental and social impact of products or services throughout their life cycle. The fourth one would be benchmarking, like comparing the company's performance against the industry standards and best practice. And the fifth one, the last one, would be regulatory compliance. So, of course, monitoring and ensuring compliance with relevant environmental and social regulations. I don't know if you have questions that far, so far. Feel free to ask.
No, I don't have any questions, but I think you are summarizing it pretty well.
All right. Thank you very much. You can go
Uh,
ahead if you want.
I think two, three, four, five papers are covered. Three more are left, right? One of us, each of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can go for the second round again. Rishabh, you want to start?
Yeah, Lanthony, you want to go ahead?
Um, you want me to represent what I said earlier?
No, we can start with the second article.
The discussion of the article?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the first question is from your reading, how would you define CSR? So I think we can define CSR as a business model that is here to help a company uh, with accountability, stakeholders, and the public.
Mm-hmm.
And we can improve the company and the society and the sector of a company by promoting a good CSR application and positive company brand image.
Mm-hmm.
As we spoke about the four type of CSR, which is environmental, ethical, philanthropic, and financial. So we can work on every of those aspects.
Okay.
Do you want to add something?
Uh, I am actually looking for these questions. I am unable to find the. I think these are different for me.
On Learn, you are supposed to have your course, corporate social
Yes.
responsibility. You go on assessment,
Assessment.
and
Wait. Yeah.
yeah,
Assessment.
assessment. And assessment one, you have attached file name
Okay.
notes of the group discussion. And if you click on
Notes.
it, you will have a word.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it will download a word, and on this word, you will have so a title. You will have the eighth article provided, and you will find out four questions. Do you have them?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, so do you have something to add for how would you define CSR based on what
Uh,
we say earlier?
Yeah,
I can,
actually,
yeah.
we were going with the second article. Like we all read about two articles each, right? So we summarized the first one in the first round. Now we were going ahead with the second round to summarize the second article that we have read. So can you go ahead with that thing?
In my first presentation, I summarized both of the article I read because as I because as I
Okay,
said, they were really close because they both
right.
were talking about stakeholders and shareholders
Yes.
and because I read for those who didn't heard me earlier, I was on um, the five and sixth one. So Ackerman and Eden on strategic management of stakeholders, and the
Okay.
Freeman one on tension is stakeholders theory. So
Okay.
yeah, I just summarize my points and go through both articles. But if you want to present your second one, you can.
Okay. Sure, I'll go ahead with the second article that I read. It is regarding sustainable business model innovation. So, sustainability issues like growing inequality, environmental degradation make the transformation to a more sustainable economic system, which is increasingly desirable, right? So, business model innovations are always, this article focuses on the singular point that business model innovations are suspected to yield higher returns then product or a process innovation. Okay. So we define sustainable business models as business models that incorporate a proactive multi-stakeholder management with the creation of monetary and non-monetary value for a broad range of stakeholders and hold a long-term perspective, right? So, for example, this is not from the article, but from one of the organization which I think follows this strategy. It is Patagonia, which is widely recognized for its commitment to sustainability. The company incorporates eco-friendly practices throughout its business model. In spite of being a fashion brand, it encourages the customers to buy fewer and longer lasting items. They also have a worn wear program which promotes repairing and recycling of the clothes. And they also actively, in spite of being a fashion brand, they are more focused towards engaging in environmental activism and support causes like climate change and conservation, right? The company also strives for carbon neutrality and invests in renewable energy and maintains transparency in its entire supply chain. So their dedication to sustainability extends beyond their products, uh, which makes it a very successful company, making it very attractive for its customers and making it a leader in the corporate responsibility and advocacy space. Uh, Also, the second key point in this reading was that there was a research gap in this sustainable model innovation, which is basically the idea of sustainable business model and and its implementation. So there's a lack between the two. So another example for highlighting this is the same. I've taken the same one of the other fashion brands to keep the context intact. So the brand H&M, it is facing challenge in sustainable business model innovation. While they are making efforts to incorporate sustainability, their business model is such that it is not allowing them to take up sustainable practices because they are essentially a fast fashion brand, right? And thus they posed difficulties in terms of environmental impact, waste, and labor practices also. So they have also encountered criticism for its reliance on a high volume, low cost model, which contributes to overconsumption and environmental strain, right? So despite initiatives like garment collection and recycling programs, they are still not able to achieve a fully sustainable business model in the fashion industry, and it remains a complex challenge for them. And this is what highlights the gap between the two: the thinking that your business model can become a sustainable business model, and and its implementation, how tough it is to be one of those brands. If you guys have any more examples or you want to add anything, you can go ahead.
No, no, thank you. So I think I'll present my paper then, the last one,
Sure, sure, go ahead.
and then we can discuss if we have any more questions or anything.
Okay.
Uh, so my paper was the Ackerman and Eden 2011, and it was strategic management of the stakeholders. So it's like it outlines a systematic approach on how to manage stakeholder relationships, as Thomas is saying. Like managing stakeholder and shareholders is a very important aspect of CSR. And so in this paper, stakeholder is defined as any individual or a group who can affect or is affected by the achievement of an organization's objectives. So basically, if we talk about, if we take example of any Indian company, let's say for example Tata Power, then it has a dedicated department which looks after CSR activities. Like they get a fixed budget and all, and everybody who is in the organization is impacted by it. So that means all the stakeholders, like all the employees are stakeholders of the CSR activity that's going on. And basically, that's what the people are also arguing, that effective stakeholder management is like very essential for long-term organizational success, because it not only affects your employees, but it also affects your customers and the area in which you have built your organization. So in this part, it focused mainly on the strategic stakeholder management, and for this, it proposes a four-step process. First is identifying stakeholders, where just like I mentioned, it includes internal stakeholders such as like employees, managers, and shareholders, and external stakeholders such as customers, suppliers, like community members or government regulators. The second step is access stakeholder power and interest. So once the stakeholders have been identified in step one, it's important to assess their power and interest. Like power refers to the ability of a stakeholder to influence the organization, while interest refers to the stakeholders' needs, want, and expectations. So here, like stakeholder would be someone internal to the company, and the power will be something internal to the company, and interests would be something external to the company, because the company wants to also maintain its image in the eyes of the public. Like as you said, Rishabh also, as Rishabh also mentioned, that companies which are heading towards a more sustainable initiatives are being recognized by public now. For example, H&M, for example, West Side in India has moved towards a more sustainable baggage choice, where they are offering their bags, I think, free of cost, and they have a like a bold tagline written outside their stores, like it's stylish to buy an eco-friendly bag, and that's how they're making a difference in the day-to-day activities. So that was the second step. The third is develop stakeholder engagement strategies. Now, after you've assessed the stakeholders' powers and interest in the second step, the organization should develop engagement strategies for each stakeholder group. These strategies should outline how the organization will communicate, collaborate, and manage the expectations of each stakeholder group. And the last step is monitor and evaluate stakeholder relationships. Like of course, after the engagement strategies are developed, it's important to continuously monitor and evaluate so that they are aligned with the organization's strategic objectives. And this can involve like multiple things. For example, you can conduct surveys to know how the current CSR budget is going. Are the people being benefited by it or not? Do the people want something different from what we are providing? Or like having stakeholder meetings or something. These could be various measures to monitor the relationships. So it's highly influential in part of stakeholder management. And basically the whole paper argues like how it should be developed and how it should be managed, and that's about it. I think if you have any questions, you can ask me, or we can discuss any general questions.
Okay. Uh, Thomas, you want to add something?
No, thanks. It was very clear.
Yeah.
Actually, already summarized both of my articles, but
Okay.
what I did is I answered all of the questions. So maybe we can continue and try to answer the following questions. I think Anthony
Sure, sure.
already answered first questions too.
Okay.
So, well, I kind of, in my summary, I kind of answer question two as well. Question two was, how would you define sustainability issues? So, like I said, in my first article, which was the way forward in mindfulness and sustainability, I said like basically there are three examples of sustainability challenges, which are the PEB, measuring pro-environmental behavior, identifying high impact behaviors, and environmental impact indicators. And in the first article I read, the tension in stakeholder theory, it was five sustainability changes, which was stakeholder engagement, materiality assessments, life cycle assessments, benchmarking, and regulatory compliance. But if you guys are okay, I can answer the third question.
Okay.
Which is about how would you define stakeholders? Describe ways to categorize or map stakeholders. And finally, what are the strategies to manage stakeholders? So in the article, I read about tension in stakeholder theory. The writers highlight a couple of strategies for categorizing or mapping stakeholders, which are, the first one would be the power and interest grid. So basically, this is categorizing stakeholders based on their level of power and interest in the company's activities. So this is a way, of course, of a basic way of categorizing and mapping the couple of stakeholders that a company could have. The second one would be legitimacy, power, urgency, and the urgency model, which is basically assessing stakeholders based on their legitimacy, their power, their urgency regarding their claims on the organizations. So this is a prioritization of all the stakeholders. And finally, the salience model, which is prioritizing stakeholders based on their salience, their considering power, their legitimacy, and their urgency. So all of these three strategies are really close, are basically almost the same, but each one of them allows a company to have a really clear view on their stakeholders and how to manage them. But they could also be managed in the same article regarding different and several strategies, such as communication and transparency, because of course, keeping stakeholders informed and maintaining open communication is the best way to manage them and to have a clear view, I would say, on how to manage them. And yeah, basically that's it. But also the engagement and collaboration is very important because involving stakeholders in decision-making process is the best way to make sure that they are involved in the business. Also, conflict resolution is a good way to address conflicts of interest regarding negotiation and mediation. And finally, continuous monitoring is the best way of regularly assessing and updating stakeholders mapping to adapt to changing circumstances. In the other article I read, The Way Forward in Mindfulness and Sustainability, stakeholders of the firm, and especially employees, as I said earlier, this article is more focused on employees than the other stakeholders. They could be categorized and managed regarding several factors. The first one would be the mindfulness levels. So basically, the article suggests that individuals with formal meditation experience may interpret mindfulness scales differently from non-practitioners. And therefore, understanding stakeholders' mindfulness levels could be crucial in designing effective mindfulness programs tailored to their needs. The second strategy that could be used to categorize and manage employees or stakeholders in general would be when managing employees and other stakeholders, firm might need to consider the diversity of their workforce and involving individuals with varying level of mindfulness experience. This is basically the same as the previous one, but this time you can use sampling techniques to improve, to conclude general population samples and investigate differences between meditation novices and experts. The third strategy would be individual characteristics. Like the article suggests that meditation practitioners may interpret mindfulness scales differently, and therefore managing stakeholders may involve recognizing and accommodating diverse perspectives on mindfulness. The first one would be interventions programs. Like firms could manage employees by implementing intervention programs that target specific groups based on their characteristics. For example, mindfulness programs designed for individuals with varying levels of meditation experience might yield for effective results. The fifth one would be long-term effects and practices, because managing employees for sustainability may involve considering the long-term effects of mindfulness practices. And this includes monitoring employees, meditation practice patterns, frequency, techniques applied, and exposure to mindfulness teachings. And finally, cultural differences. So basically, the article mentions the influence of cultural differences on steady measures. And when categorizing and managing employees, firms operating in diverse cultural settings should be attentive to potential variations in the interpretation of mindfulness and sustainability context. So basically, in summary, consideration related to mindfulness levels, sampling techniques, individual characteristics, intervention programs, long-term effects, and cultural differences could inform strategies for effectively managing a diverse workforce in the context of sustainability and mindfulness. So this is basically how I answered based on my two articles, question 2. I don't know if you have any question, guys. Don't hesitate to let me know. Do you guys have any idea on how to answer question 2 based on your articles?
Question 2 or question 4?
Oh, sorry, question, I think it's question 4 here.
Because you already did the question 2.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost the
So,
count.
okay, does someone want to answer question 4, guys?
I think the question 4 is covered by Rishabh's paper. My paper covered question 1 and question 3. That's
I'll
how do you
just
define CSR and how do you define stakeholders.
yeah, I'm looking for question 4. Wait, give me a minute.
Sure.
Okay.
I think I just answered question 3 actually. It was about stakeholders, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you did 2 and 3, and now we only have question 4 left. It's define what a business model is and discuss the characteristics of a sustainable business model.
So, does anyone knows or have any idea on how to answer this question based on your articles?
I mean, I can try to answer, not based on my article because we weren't talking about that, but
Yeah,
like,
I can answer the question. But since I just got the question, so I'll be opening my article right now, and then I'll highlight the key points which I think would be relevant to the question. So, so the question is, from your reading, define what a business model is and discuss the characteristics of a sustainable business model, right?
yes.
Yeah. So, as discussed earlier, I think a long-term perspective, sustainable business models prioritize long-term success over short-term gains, and they are designed to withstand market fluctuations and changes in the business environment. The second thing to look out for is environmental responsibility. So, sustainable business models consider the impact of their operations on the environment. This may involve reducing carbon emissions, using eco friendly materials, and adopting sustainable practices to minimize ecological harm. The third one would be ethical practices. So, these business models adhere to ethical standards in their operations, which includes fair treatment of employees, transparent business practices, and adherence to legal and regulatory requirements. Uh, the fourth one should be social impact, obviously, very important. So, beyond these financial metrics, sustainable business models aim to have a positive impact on society This can include fair labor practices, community engagement, and contributions to social causes. Uh, and the fifth point, which was highlighted during the uh, in the reading, was circular economy practices. So some sustainable business models adopt circular economy principles, emphasizing the efficient use of resources by recycling and reducing waste. And apart from this, there are general points like stakeholder engagement, resilience and flexibility, economic viability of the business model, and the most important would be the transparency and accountability. Because if you are not transparent with your processes, then no one knows how sustainable your business model is. So you definitely have to be transparent and accountable for all the things you're doing, right? Yeah, anyone can add anything if you want to.
I don't have anything to add because you were really complete and clear. So I don't know if you guys have something to say.
Yeah, maybe I could add something. I answered this
Sure, sure.
question based on my second article, Tensions in Stakeholder Theory. And basically, in this article, the writers bring a definition of business models, which could be the way a company creates, delivers, and captures value. So it describes the organization strategy for generating revenue and sustaining it itself over time. Basically, I think that's it. And this article shows how we can create a sustainable business model. We just have basically to follow a couple of points, 5 points exactly. The first one would be the triple bottom line, TBL, which is the fact that we have to focus on economic, social, and environmental performance. The second one would be circular economy, which is minimizing waste by designing products for reuse, recycling, or repurposing. The second one would be stakeholder integration, like considering the interest of all stakeholders in decision making. The first one would be resilience, anticipating and adapting to social, environmental, and economic changes. And the final one would be innovation, which would be constantly seeking for new ways to create value with reducing negative impacts. All those points, I think, could be the best way, or at least according to the writers, to create a sustainable business model.
Yeah, I think we have covered all the four questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have covered everything, and I think our meeting has lasted about 1 hour also. So
Yeah,
I'm done from my side.
we
If
can.
anybody wants to add anything,
Yeah,
otherwise
we
we can
can end
close.
the meet. Before that, since we also have a group project to do, can we all join the same WhatsApp group so we can communicate uh, effectively?
Yeah, I think three of us are there. Yan, you need to join the group.
Yeah.
Which group?
A
I've
WhatsApp
mailed
group.
you. Yeah,
The
it's
Teams
okay.
one?
I'll paste the link again in the Teams chat. You join the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I'll join. I'll
And
paste the link later in the Teams chat. All right, in our
I
Teams
think
group.
there
Okay,
are
perfect.
two more people or one more person.
Yeah, there's one more person, but
Hmm.
he or she has not joined the group. Neither he or she joined the meeting, so I don't know.
Uh, do you know the name? Maybe Lanthony or Thomas would know them.
Yep, just a second.
No, I don't know.
No, I don't
I have to
know
check
either.
and learn.
Okay.
Let
I
me
checked
check.
and I don't know.
Okay.
So okay, ठीक है.
Okay. We can share the WhatsApp group link here and conclude the end the meeting. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'll paste it on the chat group itself, like our team's chat. That's fine,
sure.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just a second.
And guys, I just have one question before we leave. Do we agree that in the assessment we have to submit, we have to answer each question based on our discussion and not only on our articles, right?
No, and I don't think we have to submit the answer to those 4 questions in our assignment. For the
Hmm.
assessment, you have a separate template, which is individual assessment report template, something like that.
Yes,
You have to
yes.
submit that. So basically, the questions that we discussed right now are not to be submitted. That were only for the purpose of discussion.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a part of notes, right?
Yeah. If you scroll down in the assignment one, there is a separate document, individual learning and participation template. In that, you just have to rate each other, like rate our group
Yeah,
discussion, rate how much each one of us participated, and then you have to submit
yeah.
that, including the video link. That's it. I'll send the video link in the WhatsApp group in a while because I'll have to upload it
Mm-hmm.
on a private platform like YouTube or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
no
because
problem.
they don't accept the team SharePoint link. They will have to upload it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, so
okay.
I'll share it in the WhatsApp group. Meanwhile, Anthony, you join the WhatsApp group. I pasted the link in our team chat, and
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you
post
very
that we
much.
can upload the assignment.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.